Hello, misfits and murder popes. My name is TV Skyn, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where last time it turned out the Pope was evil, which was a shocker to everyone. I'm sure he seemed so nice. You know, he had a beard, and he was old. He seemed like he was probably fine. But no, turns out evil actually, and therefore we now have to go and save poor Sir Emmerich from. We're being photobombed. We have to go and save poor Sir Emmerich from not being murdered by the Murder Pope. So we're gonna go and do that now. I think, because you know, seems like a nice thing to do. He's a friend and all. We've been working in secret to undermine the Holy See and the Eye Houses. That much I like knowledge. But this nonsense about us throwing wide the gates for the heretics, it's just that nonsense. I don't know what the hell kind of accent that is. I kind of have to come up with it on the fly. She has a West Country accent, right? Like a sort of West Country English accent. I cannot do those. For whatever reason, I just can't. If not you, then who? You, Temple Knights, of course. Reckon it was your beloved Sir Emmerich's doing at first, but when I heard how he lost his head, my next best guess would be the Heavensward. That way they have a perfect excuse to go door to door through the broom, slaughter the heretics and their sympathizers in one fell swoop. But the Heavensward scheme did not account for Lady Iceheart's intervention, and so they've been forced to improvise. Fine bloody mess in it, but the die is cast, so what's the plan? Kill the Pope. We must divert the attention of the high houses away from the city, and to do that, we need the cooperation of your allies in their service. We could just kill the Pope. Like, if you just get rid of him, I'm sure the problems will be over, because he's like the only problem. And then if we get rid of him, everything else will be fine. That's generally how it works. And what makes you think I have friends in high places? You would be fools not to, given your goals. Low-born knights are ideal recruits. Most swore fealty only out of a desire for a better life. If offered an opportunity to shed the yoke and live for themselves, who among them would not be at least tempted to take it? Rare is the man eager to die for a cause he does not hold dear, but it need not come to that this day. If they and their fellow knights are deployed afield to deal with a new threat, a massing of heretics, for example, then they will be unable to join in the defense of the vault. Oh, spare full support and attack to get them out of harm's way, you say? The city will not soon forget the heretics' last assault. If the high houses believe another attack is imminent, they'll have no choice but to act. Can it be done? Can we try him to leave Ishka? Aye. Can we keep him out for long? Not bloody likely. Make sure you're ready before I send word, because you won't get a second chance of this. Then it is decided. To the vault, the Archbishop must be held to account. Yeah, kill the Pope! And the Lord Commander granted his liberty. Kill the Pope. Please don't clip this out of context and send it to the Vatican. I'm on enough watch lists already. Oh, good lord. Hearken to me, everyone. We have two objectives. Rescue Sir Emmerich and apprehend the Archbishop. We will therefore divide our forces into two parties. Estinian and I will make ready to breach the underground jail and search for the Lord Commander. We will not move, however, until the second party has entered the vault. I speak of your party, Warrior of Light. Together with Lord Orshifan and Master Alphino. Master Alphino. For this plan to succeed, you will need to fight your way into the highest levels of the vault, even onto the Archbishop's private chambers. When the Heavensward realize what you intend, they will fly to their master's side, leaving only a token force to guard the jail. Temple Knights loyal to our cause have already secured the entrance to the vault. Once you are within, they will signal to us. If all goes to plan, we shall rejoin you with Sir Emmerich and confront the Archbishop together. Is everyone clear as to their duties? Then let us do what must be done. The music is very chill about it right now, I gotta say. La la la, la la. I do like the contrast between the music in the pillars and the music. Okay, and another one. That's a lot of them. And the music up here, like sort of up here, everything's sort of peaceable and kind of la 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 la, do do do. We are nobles, we're living up in the clouds, la la. And then down below, it's like organ music, like doo 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 doo. Drama and like precarity.
The others are in position, Master Prick. I will send word once you and your party have entered.
Ooh. I mean, how can someone be a bad guy and live in a house like this? I don't get it. Like, that doesn't seem possible. This looks like a classic good guy lair to me. This is where the heroes live all the time. It genuinely is kind of... It is kind of remarkable on some level. The extent to which... Like, games like this, like, because I see this, and I hear this music, and my immediate first thought is actually Devil May Cry. Specifically Devil May Cry 4. The intro to that, and, like, the way that it presents, like, the devil evil church with the Satan Pope, and, like, the very, very, very Christian imagery that it is all festooned in. And this, too, is... I mean... especially the fucking music. This is pure Catholic Church, like medieval Catholic Church. Like, this is pure that. All of the iconography, all of the shape language, it's just like, it's purely borrowed from that. All of this, like, monumental architecture. The only thing that's really different is that it borrows a little bit from Protestantism as well, in that a classic, like a medieval Catholic church would be a lot more colorful. This one is very, like, blue, gold, white, and then, like, yellow light all over the place. Or golden light all over the place. Whereas if it was a proper Catholic church, you'd have icons of saints and, like massive tableaus displaying, like, ancient heroes and religious figures and stuff like that. Which is one of the things that's, like, interesting in terms of because that's something you rarely see in Japanese I'm sorry for not going through the temple dungeon faster than I'm going, but it's something you don't really see in a lot of, like, when Japanese video games sort of do evil church, and they sort of appropriate Christian imagery in order to sort of imply, like, like villainous, evil, organized religion figures and all that stuff. They rarely ever appropriate the gaudier parts of Catholic iconography. Like, you rarely see like triptychs, you rarely see like, they do stained glass windows, right? But they won't do wall paintings. They won't do murals. They won't really do, like, the ostentatious worship of icons. That's also associated with, like, a lot of like, especially medieval Catholic aesthetic, especially prior to the Reformation. That has a tendency not to show up so much, which I think is interesting. Like, that they sort of, like, the image of the villainous Christianity in Japan sort of doesn't really include some of what we in Europe would certainly consider the iconic and visually important parts of Catholicism. This is something I kind of noted with Bloodborne as well when I was playing that, is that Bloodborne is another game that very much, like, sort of codes, like, the Healing Church, who are some of the bad guys in that game, with imagery of Catholicism specifically, like lots of Christianity, lots of censers full of incense, lots of statues, lots of sheer white marble all over the place, like white marble. Boy, they love white marble, in a way that I kind of feel like the Catholic Church doesn't so much. Like when I think of like sort of really iconic Catholic architecture, like in Rome, I think, like, yeah, a lot of it was built, like, in white stone and stuff, but usually with, like, sumptuous decoration as well. God, it's hard to focus on an ability rotation and talking at the same time. This would probably go a lot faster, the fights, if we had a proper DPS and not an NPC, but I want my boys. Don't clip that out of context. Okay. He fucking did a Super Sentai transformation. My boy just went Henshin. Just as Sir Cherubit said. Ooh. How did you transform into that monstrosity? I bet I'll bet you money. I will bet you actual money that he transformed into that monstrosity by something dragon blood. Like, it's gonna be something dragon blood. Like, they use the power of the dragon blood as well. And they're like, no, when we do it, it's holy. But when they do it, it's bad. Like, it's gonna be some rank and vile hypocrisy. That's what it's gonna be. Oh, I see people are recreating the enemies with emotes in chat. Oh, that's cute. This kind of feels like I'm about to run into Sans. Like any moment now, I'm gonna turn a corner and there's gonna be a skeleton that's gonna be like, in like the Final Fantasy sound font, la 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 la. You see what I mean? You feel your sins crawling on your shoulders. Can you imagine a Final Fantasy XIV style cover of Megalovania though for a boss? I mean, what are the odds? Like, aren't there like non-zero odds that at some point like they'll do a collaboration? Like whenever like the last chapter of Deltarune comes out, they'll do a collaboration with Toby Fox, and the very last boss will be like a Final Fantasy remix of Megalovania. Hang on, wait a minute. Oh, are we doing chess pieces? So was that the rooks that we just fought? And now we've got the knights, Black Knight and White Knight. It seems like we're doing chess pieces. More classic medieval European imagery. Or maybe we're just doing chess pieces with these two, who knows? What does the choker look like on me, by the way? Ooh! Oh, I like that. That's not a bad choker at all. Yeah. Shit, that works. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I lucked out on that one. Ooh. Now we're out on the buttresses. If archers start shooting at me from over... I've got to freak out. But no, yeah, I mean, relating it back to Dark Souls, like, this is pure Anor Londo, specifically because it is drawing from the same aesthetic tradition. Like, the same European self-representation of what the grandeur of Catholicism looks like. The same sort of European mythology of the monumental architecture of the church, right? It's drawing from that same place. Anyway, statues. Let's have a look. So, some sort of Valkyrie sort of character. Hey, those are Norse runes, aren't they? I'm pretty sure that... hang on. What is that one? It's I'm Googling an alphabet of them. Try and see if I can find it. Oh, no, I thought it was the R, but it's not. It's something very similar to it. It's similar to the... Huh. Okay. So it's similar to the runic R, or P, or rather R and W, but it isn't specifically any of them. Because no runes have that crossbar through except the... Well, except the N, but that's in the other direction. Huh. Oh, it's the symbol of Halone. Okay, well, that makes sense. And hey, look at that. There is the knight. There is the rook. There is the thing. Yeah, I think it probably incorporated a little bit of chess piece nonsense. So some sort of Valkyric warrior who I guess is Halone in representation here. Again, some interesting appropriations of imagery because, like, this is a Valkyrie. Like, I say specifically she's a Valkyrie because of the imagery that's being used on her. Like, the spear, the shield, the, like, the feathery headgear, and, like, the conspicuous femininity of the character as well is something like... This is like a pure, This is like a pure Valkyrie, pure Wagner Valkyrie, right? Like a Valkyrie right out of the Ring cycle, right out of the Nibelung, which is an interesting thing to sort of shove on top of all this sort of European Catholicism, is a little bit of European paganism, just like sort of dragging influences from absolutely everywhere they can find them. No chests down there? Okay. Cutscene time? Cutscene time. Hey, mods can break the rules. Otherwise, what would be the point of being a mod? Ooh, extra large. Hey, Cheribert. You seem a little different than last time we met. Oh, I didn't notice that on the floor. Probably should have noticed that on the floor. Why is everyone going out to the sides? Okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay. They're gonna shoot lasers, aren't they? Or they're just gonna walk. Okay, well, yeah. Stompy boys. His ultimate attack. Walking slowly at us menacingly. Could I draw you away from Alphino, perchance, by any... Could you move? Just a little bit, thank you. Ah, he's doing his ultimate attack. Okay. Whoop. Don't want to get destroyed by that. I don't think we'll be able to take them all down before he fires whatever that is. But we'll take out a chunk of them. Yeah, got most of them, so that's fine. Could you walk into my little damage zone? No? Okay. We've got the quote again from the dragon song. Like that little da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. As for character design, there's not that much to say about him or any of the Transformers, really. They're sort of very classically appointed in, like, again, taking inspiration from like, sort of Catholic knightly chivalry traditions and shit. They're very much sort of appointed in that. Okay, I should probably not get stepped on. Non-consensually, anyway. Like, he's sort of fully appointed in that aesthetic. The victory pose is still so lame. I might want to go through this dungeon again a couple of times, though, because that's some dope-ass gear. Not right now, but, you know.
Our power! How can this be?
I'm the main character of reality, and I kill gods.
Fall back!
Fall back! And he just, like, stands up and walks slowly away. And we're just like, oops, we forgot to stop him. That's one thing I kind of don't like about the way that so many of these cutscenes are directed, is that it's like, it's very much like we're sort of doing turn-based dialogue. We're like, no, they get to do their thing, and then we get to do our thing, and then they get to do their thing, and we get to do our thing, and they get to do their thing, and so on. Like, you never react to anything, you just sort of let the thing happen, and then you do your move. Estinian is still blood red, I see. Do you want a bath or something, buddy?
Father, please!
For a mercy, we were not too late.
We're a little bit too late.
Why must you do this, Father? Nidhogg is fallen. There is no need for further deception. Now is the time to renounce the lies which led us down this path. To start anew!
And tear down the very pillars of our society? Our history, our values, everything we have built over 1,000 years? A fool to the last.
Conservative. Wait, hang on. No, that you can't do that.
Look out!
That is straight up a Dark Souls spell. Okay, wait, hang on. Wait, what?
Go. Asisla awaits.
Does
Lord Orchefort!
does someone have a phoenix down?
It's no good. The wound is too deep. It refuses to mend.
You are unharmed? Forgive me. I could not bear the thought of...
Oh, do not look at me so.
A smile better suits a hero.
You have died.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, then. Hot chocolate! Phoenix down. Oh. Too soon, man. Oh, too soon. Jeez. Well, that was out of nowhere. That was rather out of nowhere. Oh! I see someone has the Orchefort lamb. With the little angel's halo. That's well played. And the little wind-up Orcheforts all over. I see we've all set up for the... Yeah. You know what? there. I feel like he deserved a minute.
I know not what to say. The others, they are gathered at Forton Manor.
Oh, to the manor, then. I will say that's rather out of nowhere. As far as deaths go, that one is not exactly foreshadowed. And sort of depending on how they handle it, this could be quite cheap, or it could be quite impactful. We'll see. The others, please enter, Master Ulfin.
Don't. Please. A knight lives to serve, to protect, to sacrifice. There is no greater calling. Leave me to mourn and give chase. For my son and for the nation he loved. Go!
His sacrifice shall not be forgotten.
My son.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill the Pope. I could not stand there in silence, but when all others had forsaken us, Lord Orchifant took us in, our beacon of hope in a world of darkness. He did it his utmost to raise our spirits so that we might face our troubles with courage, with conviction, so that we might face them as knights. Swear to God. We must press on with our mission. Tataru, pray return to your duties at the Forgotten Knight. Let us go and speak with Sir Emmerich, Brick. I worry for his well-being. Yeah, no, Slate, I remember all of the stuff he says about, like, sacrifice and his shield, blah, blah, blah. I did not take that as foreshadowing that he was going to die. Like, because, specifically the way that I read him, the way that I read what his story was doing up to this point was that it was, like, I wouldn't have been surprised if he had died further on down the line, but what I read was that the story was starting to build him up, right? Like, the story was starting to make him, like, really a part of the crew, as it were, like the main part of the group, and that he was because emotionally, this to me feels a bit like Moonbreeder. Like, where like a character, like Moonbreeder was one of the worst examples of, like, a disposable character, in that she's introduced, the story spends the minimum amount of time building her up as, like, a part of the group, and, like, building up the fact that she has relationships with others, and then it kills her, right? Like, then it just kind of snuffs her out. Orchifant has been around longer. Like, he's a much more long-standing sort of part of the story. But it's really only in Heavensward that it had started to build him up as, like, a main companion. Like, someone who's, like, one of the main allies of the Warrior of Light. And so I was reading that as though it was starting to build him up. I didn't really read this as, like, the conclusion of his character arc. Because, as I understood him, like, his whole thing was about, like, absolutely self-sacrifice. That makes sense for him as, like, a way for him to go out. Like, that's congruent with his character. That's like, that is how Orchifant would end his days, sacrificing himself for someone else. That's very him. What I'm less convinced of is, like, that it's just, like, some random guy snipes me from somewhere, and then he sort of jumps in front of the bullet. That feels very sort of we just needed to set up a drama here. Structurally, in terms of the story, that feels more like, oh, it's really unsatisfying if you just go and then the bad guy gets away, and you kind of, that's not enough to motivate the protagonist to really go after him and hate him, so we're going to have to do something. Like, we're going to have a drama of some kind. Where I feel like, at least where I interpreted the Orchifon's story to be going, is that he was going to sacrifice himself in some grand conflict to save the kingdom, or to save the Warrior of Light, but not like from some random dude throwing one spell at me. Like, it wasn't even like an ultimate attack. It wasn't even like a super powerful something or other or whatever. It was just, he threw like one lightning spear. Which is the sort of thing, like, and this is sort of, this is that thing of like ludonarrative dissonance, to bring up a tedious term, where like, that looks like an attack that I could have taken pretty easily, right? Like, just in terms of the way that it was presented, that looks like the kind of thing that I shake off every other fight. Like that looks less powerful than the shit that the boss we just fought was throwing at me, right? So, like, it feels a little weird that that's like, oh shit, if he hadn't stepped in, oh, we would have, oh wow, we would have very been dead. Super. Just in terms of the presentation, it feels like, like, I think they're handling the aftermath well, but the scene itself, to me, felt very... I hate to bring up the comparison, but the thing it felt like to me was like, you know in Kingdom Hearts? Where, like, a cutscene starts and you're walking somewhere, and then a rock flies out of nowhere and Goofy goes, "Look out!" And then he gets hit in the head, and then everyone's like, "Oh no, Goofy's dead." Like, it kind of felt like that, just in terms of how sudden it was. Like, sort of out of nowhere, like, we've just decided that there needs to be a dramatic low point here. That's really kind of what it feels like to me. Which is like, yeah. Which is why I say, like, it depends on how they handle... It depends on how they handle the aftermath of it. And they did a really good job with his father. Like, good lord, the voice actor was putting in work there. Like, the voice actor was definitely putting in work there. It depends on how they handle the aftermath. Because, again, the thing about Moonbrita is, like, she dies, and then we bury her, and then we've kind of not heard from her again. Right? Like, where's Moonbrita? Is anyone talking about her? Does someone remember her? Not a lot. Like, she doesn't come up. Haven't been a lot of, like... to be fair, we also have not gotten to hang out with the Scions at all, right? So hopefully she'll be brought up again as like an important emotional moment for at least Minfilia. But yeah, it depends on how they handle the aftermath. Like, because the scene itself where he dies, it feels a little cheap. Like, it feels slightly like cheap drama. Just the way that it's presented, the way that it's carried out. Because I could imagine a scene where, like, we come out, like, we run up against the, like, we charge at the Pope, and then it turns out not just that a guy is standing there, he conjures a spear and throws it, but a guy has been sitting there with, like, a specially prepared super spell, like, charging it up the whole time. And then, like, the moment we wander into view, that's when he like, where it feels more like we're walking into a trap, rather than just a guy happened to be standing there. Well, like, it feels like you were reckless and you walked into a trap kind of thing. He wasn't, though. Like, again, it's about the presentation of the scene, right? He just kind of stood there and just like, oh, there, conjure a spell, throw it, right? And that's a different narrative vibe than if the guy is just sitting there waiting, like holding the trigger on something, right? See, I don't like the presentation of the scene. I don't like the presentation of it. I don't think it was well presented. And also, like, if this was their assassination plan, that's the dumbest assassination plan in the universe. Like, wow, that's a dumb assassination plan. Like, that, no, that's not an assassination plan. Like, no, like, we're gonna count on him to run at the guy. No. That's really, like, I don't think it was set up very well. I don't think it was presented very well.
An audience with the Lord Commander? Yes, yes, of course.
Oh, Soli, thank you for that resubscription.
Curse those bloody horse sons and piss on their swiving round table.
Sir Emmerich,
My friends, I am in your debt.
Think nothing of it. Your wounds are healing well, I trust.
Some wounds do not heal. The founding. The scriptures, 1,000 years of lies, all to deceive the common man. Nay, our own brothers and sisters. For the blood of the Knights 12 flows within all our veins. You knew this to be true. You knew, and you concealed it.
I should be interested to hear how you came by this knowledge. But yes, you have the right of it. The architects of Ishgard, King Thordan and his Knights 12, entrapped and butchered the great worm, Ratatosker.
Oh, good
that
job.
They might partake of her eyes and thereby transcend their mortal limits.
That was a better pronunciation.
Upon learning of their treachery, Nidhogg was consumed with a murderous and justified rage. I dare say you know what followed.
The great worm slew the king and half of his knights.
Aye, but Nidhogg was subdued, and his eyes plucked from their sockets by the knights that remained. Their one mistake was to show mercy, for from his brother Hreisvelger did Nidhogg receive a new eye, thus rejuvenating his form and empowering him to embark upon an eternal quest for vengeance.
Whilst Thordan's son Haldreth took one of Nidhogg's eyes and learned to wield its power in defense of his people.
Thus was the first Azure Dragoon born, and ever since that time, his honored successors have risen to drive Nidhogg from our lands whenever the worm has returned to plague us. I ask you, my son, will you answer for my sins? Will your son and his son answer for me as well?
What do you mean?
If a man cannot atone for his sins in the course of his all too fleeting life, must his progeny then be held to account? Must every subsequent generation be judged as well?
So long as they benefit by the murder?
Thordan's betrayal
A little
of
bit.
Ratatosker was an unconscionable, unforgivable sin. Should we then, as his descendants, meekly surrender ourselves to an eternity of punishment?
Yeah, okay, but Nidhogg is dead, so it's over.
Nay, say I. I would not see our children sacrificed in a vain attempt to appease an implacable foe. Dragons are not like us, my son. To they who live forever, the wrongs of antiquity are as those of yesterday. No reparations shall ever suffice. This fact alone should serve as ample justification for our actions. Yet some refuse to see it as such. For men like you, who yearn to commit themselves to a nobler cause, a more compelling narrative is required.
This is your solution. This is how you protect our people. You have given us a lost cause, a death sentence. With your compelling narrative, you but doom our countrymen to give their lives for a lie.
And they do so gladly. Highborn and lowborn alike are proud to serve, to fight and die for their country.
And for you. I notice you're on top of this pile.
And what would you say to them? What would you tell the wives who have lost their husbands? The mothers who have lost their sons? That their loved ones died for naught?
Yeah, but also, It's wow, sure is convenient that this necessary lie, we must do it this way. This is completely necessary, that we definitely have to have this arrangement in order to protect the people from the eternal unjustified vengeance thing. But I have to be in charge. Like, me on top. I have to be the guy who has the funny hat and the staff and who gets all of the power and to control all of the things and decide who gets to know what. I'm the one who gets to do that. And that I do that as a sacrifice. In service to the country, out of love for my countrymen, of course, I take on this duty of being the guy who has all of the money and all of the power and the fanciest house and the fanciest clothes and gets most of the food. It's like, it's just logical, it's just reasonable, it's like, well, there was no other way. We had to do it this way. It was necessary. We couldn't tell people the truth. People are stupid. The people are stupid, idiot morons who don't know what's best for them. And if we told them the truth, they might decide to do something that I don't think they should do. And that wouldn't be right. That would be unfair. That is just like, I have decided that they should die because of a thing that's not true. Because if they didn't die because of the thing that isn't true, maybe they die because of the thing that is true, and that would be worse. So it's better if they die and then it's a lie, instead of if they died and then it was the truth. Because those are the only two options, right? Like, the only two options are either Pope with like evil knights who control everything, or everyone dies. These are the only two options that we have, right? Like, it's either that or eternal dragon vengeance and everyone dies. These are the only two options, and I have decided that the one where I get to be in charge is the better one, because that's the less bad one, because of its utilitarian, you see. That's philosophy. And that means I'm right.
Over the course of 1,000 years, countless men have donned these robes, and every one of them came to accept the necessity of this solution. Once, I hoped you might come to accept it as well.
Yeah, it's funny that they came to accept this. Like, oh, I have to sit on the fancy chair and be in charge and have all of the power and all of the money, and I have to do that for wow, wow. Can't believe they accepted that was necessary, because they don't have to sacrifice anything. Don't have to sacrifice anything. But the peasants do, and the knights do, and the soldiers do, and the shopkeeper, they have to live in eternal fear of the dragons forever. But you get to live in the fancy house with all of the money. Wow, I can't believe that you felt compelled to accept that solution. I don't know why that seemed like such a good idea from your perspective.
Do not despair, my son. Soon I shall free us from the sins of antiquity.
Is he gonna murder all the dragons?
And bring about the change you so fervently desire.
Bet you the solution still involves you being in charge.
If he has spoken with others, I would have their names. Escort him to a cell and question him thoroughly.
He means torture him.
Eminence.
When he says question him thoroughly, that meant torture.
You saw something, did you not? A vision of the past?
So this is the power of the Echo. Would that it had shown you a finer moment from my past. 'Twas an exercise in futility, as you saw. Faced with the firmity of his conviction and his many ready rejoinders, my words deserted me. To be frank, I am embarrassed to recall it.
Don't worry, I said a lot of shit on your behalf.
A friend once impressed upon me the importance of differentiating between words, deeds, and beliefs. Were he here, I suspect he would judge your father's conviction to be no more than rank self-serving delusion.
Good boy, Alphino.
Even so, I cannot help but wonder what manner of change he intends to bring about.
He's gonna murder a lot of people is what he's gonna do. I don't know exactly what he'll do, but,
that as well.
But he'll kill a lot of people when he does it.
During the battle within the vault, the Heavensward demonstrated strange and unnatural abilities.
Aye, the manner in which Sir Zephyrin struck down Lord Horshafon was unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Stole it directly from Dark
The
Souls.
spectacle called to mind King Thordan and his Knights 12 as they are depicted in scripture, holy powers and all.
Mere fabrications, which have become objects of faith, instilled with the belief of countless devoted souls. 7 hells!
If Lady Iceheart can use her own body as a vessel for summoning, I see no reason why others could not.
Are the Heavensward truly so reckless?
Nah, they seem reasonable.
Unbelievable.
As they fled, my father spoke of Aziz La. Though I know not what he intends, I fear no good shall come of it. His ambitions are too great, and his minions too powerful. We must find the Heavensward and stop my father before it is too late.
Someone must have made a meme already where it's like Alphino, but he's doing the aliens pose, but he says primals. Oh, hang on. Wait. Master Orphan, Master Alphino, I, Emmerich, Lord Commander of the Temple Knights of Ishgard, do hereby entreat the aid of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I aid in preventing whatever it is the Archbishop intends. Your aid in bringing him to justice. Too much blood has been spilled for the lies he perpetuated. No more. I will have Sir Zephyrin's heart for what he did to Horshafon. I'm a Dark Knight right now, so fuck them guys. Yes, of course. You two were close, I know. Much has changed since our order's founding, but our duty to combat the primal threat has not. If the Archbishop and the Heavensward are guilty of the crime of summoning, then Brig and I will stop them. Would that I could join you in the pursuit, but alas, my father's absence has thrown our government into chaos. Ever since the founding of our nation, there has been an Archbishop to serve as a guiding light for the masses, a force for stability to counterbalance the higher house's ceaseless maneuvering. It's almost as though, just follow me on this one. It's almost as though, and I'm just spitballing, it's almost as though maybe organizing your entire society around a warrior class of nobility isn't great. Maybe that's not the best way to organize a society around a bunch of people who get to have the power because they're just like warriors. Maybe if you had another way to organize, and that's the thing, right? That's the thing about Thordan the whatever's little excuses, right? Is that all of it relies on conservative thinking. And by that I don't mean necessarily like politically conservative in the way that we think of it in the modern day. He's not a Republican in that sense, right? But politically conservative in the sense of it is a style of thinking that is predicated on hierarchy and which prioritizes preservation of the hierarchy, right? And you heard that in the way that he talked. It's like 1,000 years of tradition the archbishops and like King Thornton, like we have maintained this structure, this system that we've built. We've maintained that for 1,000 years, and it has been good because of I am the one who's on top, and I've decided that it's good. I have the authority to say whether it's good or not because I'm on top. I'm the leader, and because it has been good, we can't like no, you can't. I can't allow you to tear it down because I, being the leader who's on top, has decided that the structure I'm sitting on top of is good. And that is conservative thinking. Like, that is a conservative style of conceptualizing the world, is that there is a natural hierarchy, there's a natural structure that everything is meant and supposed to fit into, and it is good when that natural structure is obeyed and preserved. And his natural structure is the religious hierarchy with the archbishop on top and the nobles underneath, and then below that the actual citizens, which is why he also believes that the citizens cannot be trusted to know, right? The citizens cannot be trusted to know the truth about their history. They cannot be trusted to know that, because if they knew that, then they might do something dumb and stupid because they're morons. Like, they are unwashed masses of illiterate moron idiots who cannot be trusted to govern themselves because they are at the bottom of the hierarchy, which is where all the worst people go. That's the other thing about conservative thinking, is that the higher up you are in the hierarchy, the more moral and the better you are as a character, like as a person, right? And that's the thing that like a lot of people get backwards, is that conservative thinking believes that if you are on top, it is because you are good, right? You have been rewarded for your goodness by being put on top, right? It's not that if you are good, you will rise to the top. That's what a lot of conservatives will say, right? They believe that good people will rise to the top, but what that actually shakes out as is anyone who's already on top must be good, and anyone who's not on top must have done something wrong, because if they hadn't done something wrong, they'd be on top, right? And that's where, as Megan Nova Schissel says in chat, that's where the bootstraps thing comes from, right? Like, if you deserved to have a better lot in life, you would already have it. But you are poor because you deserve to be poor. Like, that's the only reason why someone would be poor, is because they don't have the right moral character. That's conservative thinking, is that the position that you're in is you are there because that's where you're supposed to be. That's where you're meant to be. Which is why conservatives, like, and again, conservative does not correlate one-to-one with just like Republican. Plenty of liberals are conservatives as well. Even within leftist circles, you will find conservative thinking. It's not like ideologically exclusive to either the right or the left. It's a thing, it's a style of thinking that permeates like many communities. But it's less common in leftist circles, I will say, because leftist political philosophy generally relies on the idea of breaking down hierarchies. But yeah, like, that's why he's so convinced that, like, no, we can't tell them, because if we tell them, they might do something stupid, because they're fucking morons. And I am smart because I am on top, and I'm smart because I'm on top, and I'm on top because I'm smart. See? That justifies itself right there.
Convincing the people to recognize the truth of our origins would have been difficult even with my father's support. The road ahead is that much more fraught with peril without it. Yet, walk it we must, for unity is more vital to our survival than ever. After all, Nilhog's death did not mark the cessation of Dravanian hostilities. Far from it. We will have great need of each other in the days to come.
You may ever count on my lance, Sir Emric. To my dying breath, I shall defend Ishgard from the Horde.
Thank you for that subscription, Kenji loves you. I hope you got to see other stuff than me just ranting.
If I may, Lord Commander, I would like to assist the Scions in their search for the Archbishop. Brick, Master Elfino, pray attend me outside.
Very well. With me, Brick. I believe we have much to discuss.
One of my favorite side quests in the entire game is now available at Foundation, X:8.7, Y:11.9, from Hermes. I think you would really enjoy it.
Well, we can probably go and take a look at it, since this seems to be kind of a break in the narrative. 80% of your content is political ranting. Shut up! Don't call me out like that! Just because you're accurate and you're correct. It's very offensive to say things that are true. I think someone asked a question in chat. Is it possible for someone to be healthily conservative? I mean, that really depends on what you mean by that. like I said, it's a style of thinking, right? It's not a politically exclusive thing. It's a style of thinking. It's a style of rhetoric, and it exists in all of us. Like we all are liable to engage in conservative thinking about certain things. Even if you have maybe a liberal or a progressive mindset in many other ways, maybe if it comes to, for example, they're making they're making new Lord of the Rings movies, right? And I don't want them to make new Lord of the Rings movies. I don't want any more Lord of the Rings movies because we have 3 perfect Lord of the Rings movies already, and we don't need any more, right? And that's me engaging in... What's that noise? Yeah, okay. Just get away from that a little bit. That's me engaging in a bit of conservative thinking, that I have a ranking. This is the natural structure of Lord of the Rings movies, is that there are 3 of them, and they have Viggo Mortensen in them, and Gandalf is played by Ian McKellen, and Saruman is played by Christopher Lee, and those are the right ones. That's the structure they would want. And if you introduce anything more to that, you're unbalancing the natural structure of the world, and that's bad. That's me engaging in conservative thinking in my fandom, right? And that's not rational at all. But that's how I feel about the idea of more Lord of the Rings movies, right? So, it's conservative thinking is not it's not a political position. It's a style of thinking. It's a style of rhetoric, and we all engage with it sometimes, somewhere, under some circumstances, sort of depending on who we are and how we feel, and Anyway, Lucia, could you hang on there a second? Because I think after all of this rambling, this might be a halfway decent place to call it for this particular episode. R.I.P. to a real one. Rest in peace, or Chiffon. I didn't like your death scene very much, but they've been handling the aftermath okay. But yeah, if you've enjoyed hanging out in the world of Final Fantasy XIV with me, you can hit the like, comment, and/or subscribe buttons down below. You can support the channel on Patreon if you want to. You can hit me a tip if you want to. You can head on over to Twitch and watch these episodes being recorded live. It's generally a pretty damn good time. Or you can subscribe on the Twitch channel to get access to the full stream VODs, which include all of the stuff that the editor cuts out of these episodes to make them a little bit more, manageable for YouTube. Even though I've also been forcing them to make longer episodes recently. Sorry about that, Jane. But yeah, I think that's all the self-promotion I need to do, so thank you very much for watching. Remember to be kind to one another. Have solidarity with those who are worse off than yourselves, and may the tides of history wash gently over us all.